We've had 3 days to digest the shocking trade between the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Los Angeles Clippers, landing James Harden in Cleveland. If your first reaction to the move was that this reeked of desperation from a meddling owner who's tired of paying a massive luxury tax bill for a team that spent the better half of the season hovering around 500, you're probably not alone. But before he suits up for the Cavs, let's dig into whether this gamble can actually pay off. Like, subscribe, and let's get into this. As you're well aware if you are watching this, you know that James Harden was traded from the Los Angeles Clippers to the Cleveland Cavaliers for Darius Garland and a second-round pick. So let's start with the blatantly obvious stuff. The Cavs traded a 26-year-old two-time All-Star signed through the 27-28 season for a 36-year-old former MVP who's averaging one trade request every other year since COVID. Yes, the Cavs are a second-apron team. Yes, Harden is rumored to have wanted out of LA for their refusal to offer him long-term money in the first place. Yes, he has a history of putting on a fat suit and making things very uncomfortable if he doesn't get his way. Yes, this could backfire. But what if it doesn't? What does James Harden actually bring to the Cavs on the basketball court where the games are actually played? Can he be a needle mover despite the feelings of his ex-enabler, Daryl Morey? Well, let's start here because it might be the biggest way that he can make an impact right away for the Cavs. And that is that the Cavs needed penetration.
What'd he say?
Last year's high-powered offense was built on a drive and kick game that opened up cutting lanes and catch-and-shoot threes that the Cavs rode to a 64-win season. This year, their ability to do the drive part of that particular strategy has taken a major hit. From 6th in the league last year in drives per game, they've dropped off to 17th this year. And this is due in part to letting Ty Jerome walk for nothing in free agency over the summer and replacing his minutes with Lonzo Ball, who's allergic to the paint. The other part is Darius Garland, who's averaging 14 drives per game, just as many as Donovan Mitchell, but he's missed half the season, which has left this almost completely up to Donovan Mitchell to put pressure on the rim, and the offense has come to a screeching halt as a result when he's not on the floor. From a 122 offensive rating, which would lead the league when Donovan Mitchell is playing, to 112, which would be bottom 5 when he's off the court, below the Pelicans. James Harden is top 10 in drives per game this year, slightly ahead of both Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell, and he's played in 86% of the Clippers' games this season. So while it may not be a substantial difference from the way that Garland gets to the lane, by sheer availability, the Cavs are going to benefit from consistently having at least one of James Harden or Donovan Mitchell threatening the defense to get into the paint at all times. There's also the Harden effect. Now, whether you enjoy the aesthetic of foul grifting or not, you can't argue with Harden's mastery of that art. James Harden is 6th in the league in free throw attempts right now, which will bring a massive difference to the Cavs, who rank just 22nd in the league in this area. Nobody on this Cleveland Cavaliers team gets a superstar whistle. James Harden invented it, which brings up the question, can he fit with Donovan Mitchell? When you think of James Harden, you likely think of heliocentric, high-usage basketball with lots of dribbling, high pick and roll, end of the shot clock grenades, and the aforementioned foul baiting. Is that really what you want playing next to Donovan Mitchell, whose arguably biggest knock in Cleveland has been falling into hero ball when it matters most, causing the offense to stagnate while letting him cook on the perimeter? It's a fair question. So let's consider some pros and cons. In a shocking turn of events, I'm going to start on the defensive end of the floor because this is going to be brief. But first, please remember to subscribe to the channel. Now, the other biggest knock for Donovan Mitchell's Cavs has been the size in the backcourt. How far can you really go when you've got two guards hovering around 6 feet tall sharing the floor? Well, James Harden is a 6'5" point guard who has a massive frame And while the defense is not his calling card by any stretch of the imagination, the instances in which he does tend to hold up are when he's guarding bigger players. Simply put, they have a hard time moving him, and he, to his credit, can be very disruptive with his hands and poke the ball free. And it doesn't hurt to have Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen behind him for when he does things like stop paying attention. But we're talking about James Harden here, so what we're really talking about is offensively. Kenny Atkinson being able to stagger James Harden and Donovan Mitchell is going to guarantee that he will always have an elite offensive engine on the floor at all times. And one in particular in James Harden that's not going to have a problem with physical pressure on the perimeter, which has been one of the issues that the Cavs have faced over the past couple of seasons. That staggering should fix the offensive drop-off when Mitchell goes to the bench that I mentioned earlier in this video. James Harden is also top 8 in the NBA in assists per game this year, and Donovan Mitchell has an effective field goal percentage of 62% in catch-and-shoot opportunities. He's 42% from behind the arc when he gets that chance. So having James Harden setting up Mitchell to have even more opportunities to score off the ball could actually benefit the Cavs offense quite a bit and make things easier on Mitchell, who could become an even more efficient and dangerous version of himself in a season where he's already top 7 in the league in scoring. Trouble with the pairing will likely come on the flip side, when Donovan Mitchell has the ball and James Harden is standing and watching. James Harden only shoots 35% from the floor this year on catch and shoots with an effective field goal percentage under 52%. Part of the James Harden experience is essentially disengaging when the ball is out of his hands. James Harden also leads the league in isolation possessions, which could be a concern for a Cavs team that has historically suffered from a stagnating offense. That's why the stagger is going to be so important for Kenny Atkinson, to give both of these stars as many opportunities as possible to be the guy on the floor running the show where they are most comfortable. But as much as we can nerd out over the numbers, James Harden is a win-now move for the Cavs, and he was brought in to help them get over the hump after some disappointing playoff exits over the past couple seasons. And James Harden's playoff resume is well documented. While he has a ton of experience in the playoffs, the results are, to put it mildly, spotty. His counting stats have historically experienced a drop-off, and he has several no-shows in big games on his record. It's not a sure thing that he's the answer to the Cavs' issues in the playoffs, just as it's not a sure thing that a player as talented as Harden is incapable of avoiding a playoff disaster. If anyone can truly predict the future with that level of accuracy to tell you whether he's capable of that or not, that person would be extremely wealthy in not making a YouTube video about a game created to keep children busy. At the end of the day, the Cavs are getting a more talented basketball player who is more likely to be available than what they had before. That in and of itself should net them an improvement for the remainder of the regular season, because James Harden is nothing if not a floor raiser. After that, we're all just standing in line at the circus. Will we see an amazing trapeze artist or the bearded lady? Who knows? We're all just along for the ride now. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel and follow me across social media at ZachGetsBall.